and welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Andrew.
Kaila.
And I'm Josh. Charlie's running a little bit late today. He should be on sometime during the episode, but as you may know, we're approaching the Christmas and the other December holidays, but unfortunately, we decided that this season we are only going to be going over works. We're not really going to have any miscellaneous episodes or holiday-based episodes, but Christmas is a favorite holiday of ours. I don't know, Kayla's maybe Easter, but, and Andrew's is probably Halloween.
That's good.
Yeah. Am I correct?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it is. I like all holidays, but yeah, Halloween's rad.
Mine's Halloween.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see with the pictures that you share on your Facebook. But otherwise, today we're going to be going over "Song of Myself" by Walt Whitman, because Whitman himself seems to look a little bit like Santa Claus with his beard.
That's true.
So I think it is Andrew's turn to start the discussion.
Walt Whitman's Leaves Are Grass, the core, my favorite, and probably what I believe to be the most important part of it is the Song of Myself, originally titled, I think it's Walt Whitman. It was something extremely self-referential, and it is a colloquial free verse designed to grab any reader, any education. There are winks at more studious elements in the poem, and Walt Whitman himself is a semi-permeable narrator. He is oftentimes right there with you in the flesh, and other times he has inspired himself to be some transcendent. He sometimes calls himself Cosmo, but it's all part of this alchemy, if you will, of finding nature to suit you, put you in a point.
I didn't tell him that we weren't really going to concentrate on that. How are you doing, Charlie Claus?
Ho, 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 ho! Oh.
What do you have there?
Happy birthday. I'm Sharon Christmas.
Thank you
Happy
so
holidays.
much.
Hello, I'm
Hello,
here.
hello.
Ho, ho, I get to ring this more and more now. You know how happy this makes me.
What makes you think you can ring that time and more so than you had before?
In previous episodes, Josh would pull this out of my hands, and I would cry deeply inside.
And if you keep bothering us, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, rock on! I need a. I wonder if you wanted a Led Zeppelin album, but with sleigh bells. I don't know.
Where will we try?
Okay.
You stare right ahead.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Do you know what
I have something for you too, my friend. I lost my hat. I hope that didn't break, or I'm gonna be sad.
Now you look like you're from the 18th century.
Oh dear, thank God.
American politics.
Thank you. Yes, the budget went. Everything went well. Okay, yes, and the election will pass. Like fun, good stuff. Moving on then. Okay, what do we have in here? I have plates. I don't know why. Some people
What a
want
Christmas.
Oh yeah,
That's what I wanted.
Napkins in case we get a little messy. No pun intended. I have fidget spinners for the kids. Just kidding.
Fidget spinners are pointless.
Thank you. That's why they make these.
Oh, thank you a bunch,
You're
Charlie
welcome.
Claus.
You're welcome. What else do I have in here?
Don't you have something for Kayla?
I think so. What is it that you wanted, my dear?
I don't know.
Peace and quiet?
Yeah.
Sorry. Fresh out of that crap. Here. You can use these.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Be careful, they're brand new and they're $20 a pair. And a little bit of my happiness. This is what keeps Santa happy when he's not on camera.
Why the reindeers are crashing into everything?
Not lately.
All them sleigh accidents.
No. Oh, that's really good.
Oh, like you need more of that.
Like a hole in the head.
Mm.
What else is in here? Hold on. Okay. Yeah, we're good. You can have my bag.
Oh, gee, thanks. Always easy to do first.
Oh, me too, you know. All of the miss is always
Is
easy
that
to
what
do
you
first.
put over Brian when he's bothering you?
Probably.
Okay, are you all settled in, Charlie Claus? Thank you again for the cannoli. I'd be happy to share. If I can get another plate, I'd be happy to share around with everybody. Because Christmas is about
Giving.
giving and being kind to one another.
Giving is better than receiving. I know it's a cliche, but it is true. When you give, a majority of people say when they give, I've actually asked a few people, what happens when you give? How do you feel? They say, more often than not, they say, I feel good about myself, you know. I just asked a few people, and maybe about 12. I think I would do 12. And they said
Thanks.
more than half of them were about
That was it.
I feel better about myself.
I'm sorry about that, Andrew.
Yeah,
Was
but,
that?
Andrew seems disappointed.
Don't be disappointed. Did everyone get what they wanted?
Absolutely.
Are you sure? You don't look happy. Hey, those are expensive. Here, have a little bit of this.
No, I'm good.
We'll put
So-
some hair on my chest.
Where were you finishing off, Andrew?
I was in the. I forget. I was
This will help you remember. Wait, hold on.
So it's with Walt Whitman as the narrator, slipping in between his true self and his self-realized self, and also his relationship with other selves that he views as having a common connection with his connection and the inspiration of the abundance of nature to transcend himself. To the mystical God.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's like he almost has, unlike a surgeon here, some of you might get that, kind of like a God complex. Because when I read it,
Well, a prophet at least.
Oh, yeah, you could say that, yeah.
I mean, there is a section where he is saying he's not against religion.
Right,
It's a good utility.
eggnog.
What was that the end of your? That was.
Oh, but I was leading up to the question. I was the question for it is, what would you think would be the reason for the journey?
Clear as mine. A lot going on in that time
The
period.
reason for his, I think when he says "song of myself," he's referring to the individual self as divine, and he's referring to everybody, and that we all have our own journeys, because it seems like his journey is so many different things.
This is his journey.
52 sections.
Yeah. And I actually, when I read this overnight, and it was a great read. I mean, I've read it before, but I read it again I think last night or the night before. Hey, my reindeer are acting up again. I don't know why they keep crashing into each other. Those stupid little. But anyway, I found out that it's some of these, not all of them, but some of these chapters seem like verses in the Bible to me, because there's that appointment I missed. Sorry, little Johnny, you're not getting that reindeer you wanted. Yeah, he wanted a robotic reindeer. Whatever. Yeah, oh well, too bad. But no, some of this, it seemed like it was coming out of the Bible. Like, I celebrate myself, I sing myself, and obviously it's the first stanza of it. And what I assume you shall assume. For every atom belonging to me, as good belongs to you. And to me, that I interpret that as kind of something coming right out of the Bible or religious
I don't know
text.
if I see Whitman as being biblical.
Well, yeah, I know, but
I see him as being more. He was transcendental. I think
Right.
he saw the self as being the self and its relation to nature.
and there's a lot
And
of
it's one and the same.
yeah, and there's a lot of I saw drug references in here. A lot of what some people do for fun, sexual references. This is all good. a lot of references, you know, on the second, you know, I see creeds, and usually a creed is often religious. Not all the time, but, you know, like you have your drill sergeant's creed, I will protect these, and I will, et cetera, et cetera. But a creed usually is like a promise, I believe in this and whatnot. I mean, Santa here is Catholic, so he's got to be good every now and, you know. But still, what was I trying to say? Talks about the sea a lot, nature. The way I feel about cookies and my diluted eggnog here is how he feels about nature.
I like that one
And
section about the sea because everything here is really about land and society.
Yeah.
And there's that one section about the sea. It's like, I like the sea too.
Which
I like to say too.
It's kind of like the vowel of
which
the
section are we
book.
talking about?
I'll try to find it. It's like, because I made a stupid note. It's like, oh yeah, he likes the
There's
sea
no such
too.
thing as a stupid nut, dear child.
One thing I wish he talked more about was his clamming trip.
Is what?
He just presents that he went on a clamming trip.
Yes, and he had a great time.
He had a great, and he said it was, you should have been with us that day around the chowder kettle.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I was
Oh, yeah.
interested to see what he was
Well,
doing.
he's
with
also talking about like different. He's talking about like natives and stuff. The thing is, like, I've read through this a few times, and there's things like I have to like make sure I have the word right. Like, there's like one instance that, like, I saw a Wolverine, but it was capitalized,
Mhm.
and I had to look into it. That means like a native of Michigan.
Mhm. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So there's things like that like if you don't read them too close at first.
I have the critical edition, so
Oh,
it
okay.
makes mention to the different nicknames. The people from Ohio are Buckeyes, Indiana, they're Hoosiers.
Right, right.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
Wisconsin, they're Badgers.
22 is the C. It's kind of like the vowel of the poem. It's like, and sometimes C, you know, because everything is really like land. And he looks at it at times as like microcosms, like the infinitesimal parts of nature.
When I hear microcosms and stuff like that, I say to myself, that's science right there. To me, that's science. I mean, about nature and science are two different things. You know?
Yeah, and he makes reference to that at some point. He says, science, something
does
to the
say
fact that like
science.
it's necessary, but
Science
its
too.
facts don't matter to me at the moment, or something like that.
It says something about
'Cause,
theology, the study of God.
Because he's very much about the moment, and
That was, with the moment, I really got that in the third stanza
That
where
little
he
kid out
said,
there staring at me.
He said, and I quote, I have heard what the talkers were talking, the talk of the beginning and the end, but I do not talk of the beginning or the end. There was never any more inception than there is now, nor any more youth or age than there is now, and will never be any more perfection than there is now, nor any more heaven or hell than there is now. He's
Yeah.
very much about living in the moment, and I think he makes that clear right at the beginning.
And to me, I pick up, like a verse in the Bible, or as you said, as like a prophet. It's something like a prophet would be saying. Like, live in the moment, zen, be at peace, you know. Mind you, I read this again last night, 2:30 while
I'm sorry to like be off track. And the 23, he accepts reality, and that he has that line. It's like, your facts are useful, yet they are not my dwelling. So he wants to try to maintain a fanciful state where he's just contemplating and trying to keep himself inspired and relaxed and loaf on the grass, as he says.
He mentioned loaf a lot.
And that's more of
Yeah.
a Zen moment. Well,
Yeah.
he wrote this in the 19th century, so
Yeah, I think he started right in the middle, 1850s.
Yeah.
Which this came at a perfect time because it was the end of the Romanticism, and it was just right at the beginning of realism.
but
so it fit perfectly.
it was under different names too. It was first it had no name, then it was just Walt Whitman.
Oh, was it unknown? Yeah.
And then it was Walt Whitman, an American. It became Song of Myself
Right.
in the 4th or 5th edition in 1891 or 1892.
Right. It went through 4 decades of gestation before I think we all have the later 19th century version.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was,
Which is
I have the-
I have the critical edition.
I have each
So-
too.
There's a lot up here that's put in here that he was firsthand witness of the Civil War and
Yes,
a
he
lot
was.
of
Great American
Love
commentary.
brutality. And
At first, he was not in favor of it, but then he.
Charlie Claus, watch yourself.
Thank you. Yes, I don't want to repeat of what happened a couple of years ago. Anyway, camera was not rolling, thank God. Santa needed a big ice pack.
Already, Kayla, was there something you wanted to make mention to?
Just kind of going back to like the point of this whole piece. For me, it really was about, it gives you snippets into every person's everyday average life, and really to me that was just about life goes on. You know, no matter what, we are all atoms belonging to me, belonging to you, one and the same. Everything continues no matter what happens.
Yes, I like that.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah,
where
good.
Whitman's trying to get out in like.
We are no better, we are no
he
worse.
cataloged
Here's the
such a
thing.
perfect cross section of
Yeah.
humanity. It's just like
It's
a
beautiful.
great mental picture.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There was a section to me that really, it was a 33rd stanza that really to me rang like Ginsberg's Howlet.
Oh,
Where
my
he
God.
He
named-
like quoted this heavily.
He names the kind, pleased with the native and pleased with the foreign, pleased with the new and old, pleased with the homely
Yes.
woman as well as the handsome.
Yeah.
But
A lot of anaphora.
Yeah, there would be no Howl if there was no this.
I absolutely
Yeah.
agree. I think Ginsberg heavily leaned on.
Yeah, very much so.
But Ginsberg, the way he did it, he shared his sense of empathy with those that one would think was not deserving of it, like the person shooting drugs in the street.
Right, the junkie
And-
and the homosexual at the
Yeah,
time that
that
were,
time.
yeah, sure, yeah.
Which, with Whitman, he was revolutionary for his time,
Mhm.
but I think he was a bit more. If we look at it today, it was a bit more
Tame.
tame. It was a bit more tame
Oh, yeah.
to what we're seeing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
what we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Although at the
Again-
time it was radical.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
very-
definitely.
he got a lot of,
But today, you know,
he
and
lost a clerical job over it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I obviously being that I'm Santa, I see everything, and there's some things up. It's just the eyes cannot unsee, for God's sakes. Sorry, Mrs. Claus, not tonight. Again, you still sorry. On a more serious note, all joking levity aside, I have seen quite a few instances where overdoses, and I don't know how else. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Overdoses are all over. I have lost so many friends myself because of addiction, and I didn't want to bring that up, but since we're talking about it, here we go. Except for
Anybody want any soda that Charlie Claus was nice enough to?
I appreciate it at the moment.
You want some
Thank you.
Snapple?
I'll pass it.
This will really put some hair on my chest.
Yeah.
Anybody want any cannoli?
No, I'm good right now.
I will.
I'm driving.
Yeah.
Stop it, Prancer. Prancer is now inside a car with the car. I don't. Why do people have cars with antlers on them at this time? I mean, really, it's
Yeah,
nice
I
and
haven't
all.
seen any. Thanks.
Right out there, dude.
Oh, really?
And one of my elves is up against. Okay.
We were talking about how we are all atoms in one.
Yes.
Stanza 6 really stuck out to me, where the oh wait, was this? Now I'm on the wrong thing. Yeah, stanza 6 stuck out to me, where the child was talking about the grass.
Oh yeah. What is
yeah.
grass?
Yeah, the child said, "What is the grass? Fetching
Yes.
it to me with full hands." And he responds by saying, "How can I answer the child? I do not know what it is any more than he." Which
Right.
I just found that quite the
Profound.
whole.
So everything I
because-
have here is in complete
Yeah,
disarray.
it's also like the child at that point too is just nothing but experience at that point. So he's also, I'm sure, thinking he wants to be at that state as well.
And kids are curious. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember every year I have kids asking me questions like, "How does this work? How does that work?" I was like, "What do you want for Christmas, my dear child? Can I sit on your lap more?" Get off my lap. You must have hit puberty. Gone.
It all depends on how, because Whitman takes a philosophical approach
Yes.
to looking at the grass, but that also brings into question: is science and philosophy one?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think in a lot of cases there are polar opposites, but you have the meaning of life from the speculat's point of view, and then the meaning of life through the intellect's point of view, the person that wants to use factual information to get answers. But
There's a saying that goes down in my family. It maybe been picked up over the years, but there are three sides to every story. There's one side, the other side, and then there's the truth.
Yep.
I'm afraid I'm going to lean back and pop my head again.
yeah, that's not a good idea.
Oh, God.
And then you have the grass as the offspring of Mother Earth as well, which, because natural grass, where it comes from, there's a great difference between fertilization grass that you find on your yard, artificial, and then also grass that you'll find in the meadows or the glens or the
Some grown men,
pastures.
some grown men sit on my lap and say, "Hey Santa, I kind of don't believe in you anymore." Then why are you sitting on my lap for? Well, I want a real lawn this year. Get off my knee.
Okay.
Squish you something, sir.
Yeah, and also like
Sorry.
he says like
Santa's a little smashy.
he says like
smashy.
the grass can be like the handkerchief of the Lord, a scented
Oh,
gift,
yes,
and
yes.
and whenever like he mentions perfumes or scents, it's always symbolic of individual selves.
And that was in the first couple
That
stanzas.
is quite an interesting, and he does that right from the beginning too.
Yeah, I tried to make a note early on when I read it, like just to remind me of like what certain things are, like the houses and rooms are civilization, the perfumes are individual selves, atmosphere, sky is the universal self,
I like food.
and the self is all the ideas, experiences, spiritual insights.
And it refers to everybody too. Because Whitman
Yeah,
makes
and
mention
it's the
of that.
relationship of all three. Yeah, and it's that relationship with nature and
Keep walking
the group. You heard you. And the group self and the relationship with nature, which I found that he's looking to be the perpetual journey.
No one saw
It's
that.
just to have constant experience and insight and inspiration.
Mhm.
Do we have to fight somebody?
We might
No,
have
no,
to.
it's all right.
I think someone was looking at Santa and Santa flipped them off.
Oh yeah.
Santa didn't do this. That doesn't mean it.
I can see how that might catch a glance at Santa.
Yeah, shoot.
All
All
right.
right, kids, don't do what Santa just did.
Does
'cause that's
anybody have
naughty.
any final thoughts?
Ho, ho, ho. Isn't this, when don't you, isn't it a tradition when you rip this out of my hand and I have a face of dismay on my face?
Keep bringing it.
I think I would recommend this work to anybody who is interested in transcendentalism. Handle Emerson or Thoreau.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah, he's
I can't
Thoreau,
stand
yeah.
Emerson or Thoreau, but I liked this a lot. It's like light transcendentalism.
Santa is just not himself today, folks. All these kids want fidget spinners.
Thoreau, I don't mind so much.
Yeah, you threw him out
Emerson's
real well.
much more. He's much drier.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the word because
Academic.
that wasn't my favorite either.
Mhm.
But
I like Emerson too. Like in Palmer.
I love the entirety of Leaves of Grass, and it's always like my lame go-to whenever
Mhm.
no such thing as
I'm asked
lame.
about questions. But yeah, I've read it often.
I thought it was okay. I think that Song of Myself in itself was a bit longer. I think it could have been a bit more condensed to the point, and I think that there were times where I felt that he didn't have an area. I think that there are things that are supposed to stray off, but it almost seemed like they were so detached from one another that it was just random thoughts placed together.
I'm gonna have to agree with that because tangent. In this.
Yeah. Okay. I think that you should know enough about tangents.
Who wants a fidget spinner this year, boys and girls? Just kidding.
I don't. I do not want a fidget spinner.
You'll get the ones made of gold. I'm kidding. No, some people are making. Some I don't know. I don't have one, but hey, if it works for you, God bless you.
Maybe Dan wants a fidget spinner.
Ring the bell again, and that's a yes. All right. Up to 7-Eleven.
Okay.
Oh boy, what?
Already
That was-
then.
Are we rating this now?
It's a poem, so we
A 5.
Okay. We rate long. We usually rate the longer works,
All right.
unless you want to.
Well, in the spirit
Yeah,
of
it's
Christmas,
really-
and the air conditioning is still not on, I'm giving this a 5. Because Whitman
5.7.
chocolates, no correlation obviously, but no, I give it a 5.
I'd say a 3.5 if I was asked to rate it, because I think that there's still a lot that can come out of it. It's just very
It is hard to access. It's not
dense,
yeah.
or not really dense. It's very colorful, but it is also very disconnected. And And Whitman's not my favorite. So how would you rate it, Kaila? Since all of us
Whoa.
made mention.
Sorry.
Probably a 4. It was good. It wasn't my favorite thing I've ever read, but it was good.
Okay. And are you going to eat that now?
I don't think so.
Oh. Fine. Have it your way. And that's Burger King for you.
Did you just take all of Kayla's? Oh, okay. You compensated
Thank you.
I'm overcompensating.
already. If you're interested
And
in
like that.
picking up Whitman, I used the Leaves of Grass and Other Writings Word and Critical Edition.
Oh,
This
good
includes
edition.
everything there is with regard to Whitman's works. I think Andrew and Kayla used.
Oh, this
Really old
This
version.
is one that I have a nice version of it at home. It's like a cloth bound, but this is this was from a book club. So
The clubs are always exciting. Alrighty then, be sure to join us next time for another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now, keep reading.
And happy holidays.